question in the NFL, and it's not going to be answered anytime soon. Is that the right way to play it, or a pointless smokescreen? And then, could circumstances decide that these two budding stars both see the field well before they're ready? And if so, is that a huge mistake? Those are some of the questions. We've got all of the answers as we get up with you starting right now on a Monday from Bristol, Connecticut. I'm Mike Greenberg. Hope you had a terrific weekend. We have so much to get to this morning. A ton of football news out there, but we will begin with the game of the night, which was played in the afternoon, but why quibble? On go the Clippers, and we'll talk much more about this as we go. Big Perk and Jackie, stay close. We're coming back to you. Meanwhile, to the NFL. And this fascinates me. The Chicago Bears will open their season against the Lions in Detroit 2 weeks from yesterday. Bears coach Matt Nagy is not committing to who will lead the offense. Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles. It's a competition for the starting job, and yesterday the coach made it clear he's not telling anybody who's starting the game up until the moment that they kick the ball off. Kimberly Martin is with us this morning. What are you hearing out of Chicago about the Bears quarterback competition, Kimberly?
This is just another confounding move in the quarterback situation in Chicago. It's all about competitive advantage for these coaches. And Coach Matt Nagy thinks that if he doesn't announce a starter between Trubisky and Nick Foles, then he'll keep the Detroit Lions off balance a little bit and have to prepare for both.
So what is your sense there, though? We all know the history with Trubisky. We know they traded up to take him. We know who went after him in that draft. All that is water under the bridge. And then, of course, they bring in Foles, who had the miracle playoff run with Philadelphia. What is your sense of where the advantage is there?
Listen, Greeny, I don't get it. I really don't. Regardless of who they name as a starter, whether it's Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles, the fact that we are having a quarterback competition with a former number 2 overall pick in year 4 of his career tells us all we need to know about what the Bears think of Mitchell Trubisky. I question the amount of faith they have in him, because not only did they turn down his 5th-year option, they brought in Nick